Hello beautiful people, another video. I feel like I've got so much to share. It's funny, after going through a dark night of the soul last year and having so much reflection and integration time and not wanting to sort of share anything, just needing to realign and up level, and now I just feel like shit, there's so much to share. Anyway, so last night I went to a Caroline Meese seminar, and for those of you who don't know who Caroline Meese is, maybe just Google her, but she's a healer and mystic and best-selling author, and last night the seminar was about environmental and spiritual ecology and how we can, I guess, heal the environment and humanity by healing ourselves, which is something that I've always intrinsically felt anyway. And I actually studied under Caroline at the start of my personal development journey and have, I don't know, intuitively brought a lot of her work, or a lot of what I got out of that training, into the head, heart and hand philosophy. Anyway, so I went there last night, and my beautiful partner Maz had bought me a VIP ticket to it for Christmas. So I had the honour of being in like a Q&A session with her, and I was thinking, like, what the fuck am I going to ask her? Because I knew I wanted to ask something about humanitarian aid and the work we do in Cambodia and how I feel about consciousness and whatever, but I see it from such a broad, like expansive freaking viewpoint that I didn't know how to like narrow it down and ask a question. And anyway, I stuck my hand up a few times and then thought, you know, thinking in my head, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to ask. I just have to trust that it's going to come. And then eventually I just thought, oh no, I don't even need to ask the question out loud. I'm just going to trust that whatever answers I need to hear are going to come. Anyway, oh my God, like far out, exactly what I feel about how important it is for us to do our own healing work above and beyond the humanitarian aid that we offer. And really interesting about how, you know, we've all sort of up-leveled to these multi-sensory beings where, you know, we do have intuitive ability and whatever, but we're not tapped into it, and we're trying to live in a like an old, I don't know what a word is that I can use, but like an old paradigm that just doesn't feel comfortable. And it sort of, you know, went on exploring the, you know, so-called depression epidemic and looking at it from a viewpoint of, you know, it's a spiritual crisis, not depression, and that humanity, especially multi-sensory people, are almost in a faith crisis because we feel so much, and, you know, what we're connected to, we integrate so much for everyone, for the collective, but there's no real, I don't know, guidelines or support around that. And Caroline also sort of talked about, you know, our teenagers today, and also what I intuitively feel is that they are absolutely, been born into this multi-sensory new, I can't think of another word to use that's not woo-woo, but new paradigm or new world. And, you know, these teenagers, far out, I've seen it so much, they're so intuitive and tapped in, and then we put them in this freaking school system that, oh my God. And that's why I love Head, Heart and Hand holidays for teenagers, because, you know, they get to explore all of their senses, you know, and they get to see that their intuition is normal. And if you've ever sat in a tribe with a teenager or a kid, you'll know that what they come out with is profound. It's like profound, simple, primary wisdom. And anyway, so I'm feeling, and I have been feeling, really inspired to work more with teenagers, and I can't wait for our ILC groups and the family groups, and to pass that on to our other facilitator, Sally, as well. And I guess another thing that was really interesting was, Caroline sort of referred about at a time when humanity split the atom. So when we created, atomic power or nuclear power, and we created, if you think of it as consciousness, but we created the ability to destroy ourselves, but we couldn't destroy what we'd created, so we had to up level. And because you've got to have some form of sanity so no one presses a button and blows us all up. And then from that, when that, it's fascinating to me, and you might think it's crazy, but I know the people that feel it will get it, so I'm just going to say. So when they split that atom, it went from where we're in a world where the material world dominated energy, and then all of a sudden they split the atom, and in consciousness, energy became dominant over matter. And for anyone that's a multi-sensory being, which we all are, but anyone that's really tapped into that, you get it, and you get that energy is way more powerful than pushing particles in matter. And I guess that's what I was hitting up against last year, is because I have an awareness of how powerful we are creating with our energy, and I felt like for a while I'd gone back into the sort of material pushing energy, or just sort of a world that I'd already transcended. And anyway, I know that there was beautiful lessons to learn, and whatever there. I had massive lessons, that led to my next, up-leveling, I guess. But another interesting thing that Caroline talks about, which also is something so that I feel so intuitively, is she refers to us, if you think of yourself as a building, and the building always remains the same, but we travel up different floors in consciousness. So, if you're in the basement, obviously you're seeing brick walls and it's dark, and then you might travel up to the first floor, and you can see the earth and you can see tree trunks, and then you travel up, as you get higher and higher, suddenly you can see, oh wow, there's a whole park out there, and oh shit, the ocean's in the distance, and then you travel, and it looks beautiful, and then you travel higher and you think, and you can see, shit, there's a ghetto over there, and there's people sleeping in the street, and there's paradise over there, and those people are sad and those people are happy, and then you can see in other people's windows, and they've got the fancy cars and the whatever, but the husband and wife are fighting, and the higher up you get on this, like in this building of yourself and consciousness, the more you can see. But for most people, or most mystics on a journey, I know for myself, what can happen is your awareness becomes so expanded that then, and you can see so much of everything from all the different floors right up, and now you're in the penthouse, and you're like, fuck, I can see so much, but now I don't want to see it. I know too much. I don't want to be able to see all of this. And I know that because from a humanitarian and consciousness perspective, I got to a point where I could just see so much. And I did, I'll be honest, I thought for a bit, fuck, this is too much. I'm going to go back to sleep because I don't want to have to deal with this, because now what I know is a whole new level of responsibility. We're not just talking humanitarian aid, we're talking global aid, and we're not just talking life coaching, we're talking like collective consciousness and big massive responsibility. And I guess the other thing about the higher up you go and I don't mean this, I hope you don't, I don't mean this in a socioeconomic way or in a class way or whatever, because that's bullshit. It's not about that. It's about consciousness. And the higher up you go, if you imagine in the building, and you get to the penthouse and there's less people there. There's less people on that floor, and it gets fucking lonely. That's the reality of it for people on a mystical journey. The higher up you go, in consciousness, the irony is that the less people are there, but the fucking more you're connected to absolutely everything and everyone. So I guess that's what came out of it too, was that I started seeing sort of last year that in some ways people were wanting to maybe fast track their journey, like go up some floors to see what was there, but still had the blinkers on of the of the lower floors, still couldn't see the whole picture and expansiveness. And I was racking my brain thinking, shit, how do we give people the opportunity to step into more leadership roles, but you can't fast track that awareness. And then it landed, so much stuff has been coming to me intuitively, and it landed that we've got to create the ambassador training course, and we've got to train people. If people want to be in a leadership role, then there's so much. Head, Heart and Hand Holidays is such a holistic vision, and it's sacred space. And it is a matter of it is like everything about Head, Heart and Hand Holidays is energy over matter. It's creating with our heart and soul and allowing the material stuff to come into the slipstream, not pushing the material stuff at the expense of our spirituality or our spiritual growth. So the ambassador training course came into downloaded, and the beautiful people that are walking towards that, it's just cool. And I mean, it's open to everyone if you're willing to do the training, but also it's beyond the head, and it's going to involve a shitload of your own intuition and the willingness to let go and let grace step in, because the Head, Heart and Hand journey definitely is beyond beyond pushing things materialistically, or it's a soul journey. And then, of course, the online tribe downloaded, and that's absolutely an opportunity for people to connect more with themselves, to deepen their intuitive journey. The fact that humanity's in a faith crisis, people are hungry to connect to something bigger than themselves. And humanitarian aid, I'm not at all saying that that's not needed, but it can't be either or. Like, it can't be just provide the humanitarian aid and that's enough, because that's not. We do that and all of a sudden we're ignoring our own healing, and then what we're doing is so counterintuitive to the collective. Because for anyone that's multisensory, you know what it's like, and if you've sat in tribe, you know the difference. You can feel the difference when someone is embodied, and I don't know another word for that, but when someone is just being real, like whatever it is, I don't know, whatever it is, when someone's just present in the moment, being real, not quoting things from textbooks, not thinking about what they'd written in their journal and planned to say, but just showing up in the moment with what's real. The feeling of that, and how it shifts everyone in the collective. And we also know the feeling as facilitators of what it's like when someone's not embodied. And people who are multisensory, you'll get this, but when feelings go out into or energy goes out into the circle or whatever, and then you're like, fuck, whose is that? Wait on, I'm feeling this and that's not mine. And whereas if people just say, you know, this is what's going on now, and you know, that's where they start from. The journey's always now. It's not in a book, and it's not freaking in a quote that bloody Gandhi said, or you know, it's all happening now. So I'm really, really, really passionate about that. It's something that I'm so passionate about, is that honesty of showing up now in the moment. And I know that my way of showing compassion is through honesty, and I know that sometimes I can be fucking brutally honest, and it's always from a place of love, because I can see such broader pictures, and I also get intuitive downloads. And it's something, you know, I'll learn to, or I am still learning, continuously learning to navigate. But what I know now for fucking sure is that I can't go down the elevator and down the floors to meet you, and the whole paradigm about meet people where they're at. I fucking invite you to come up the elevator to see what else is available, you know, to see the expansive view from that higher floor. You know, come up there and see what I can see, because I'm no good to anyone if I go down the floors, if I jump down in that elevator and meet you there. So I invite you out of love, like on a head, heart and hand holiday, or to do the ambassador training or online tribe or our local Suffolk tribe. But it's going to be with the intention of you tuning into your own intuition, doing your own healing work, connecting with your own purpose, and shifting stuff in yourself for humanity. And the hands-on humanitarian work is what we do in the meantime. It's what we do to integrate our healing. It's not the end point. Another cool thing that that Caroline said was, that we have forgotten that we're givers, and not like givers of soup and blankets, but givers of intuitive power. Like, we've forgotten that we're mystics, and we're all mystics. And I think the thing that was sort of pulling me in different directions with the head, heart and hand thing was because one part is quite material, the hands-on contribution, but the bigger holistic expansive thing is way beyond that, and it's about tuning people in, to their own intuition. And we don't, like, our philosophy is that we don't support people who haven't already started their journey, who aren't already in an elevator on the way up, because we can offer someone the fucking world when they're in the basement, but what are they going to do with the world when they're in the basement, Like, it's like victim consciousness, if we empower that. So it's like the kids, or you'd see, if you've been on a head, heart and hand holiday and you've seen the kids in Cambodia, the street kids, we have fucking trained them in our Western ways to whinge. Like, Khmer kids don't whinge, and then you get these street kids and they fucking know how to push the buttons. So they'll say, in their whingy voice, I don't want money, I just want milk, or please, you know, and then you joke with them and they laugh and they know that I know that they're business people. But when people are in a victim consciousness, so if someone's like, and you see it a lot on social media, on Facebook or whatever, if you're friends with different people, you'll see people try and play well, not just Cambodia, everyone try and play that victim card, poor me. If we give help or share our energy with someone when they're in a victim consciousness or a poor me consciousness, all we're doing is empowering that consciousness, because then it's like training someone, like the street kids in Cambodia, you know, if I whinge and play the poor me card, then someone else will give me what I need. But fuck that, you know, like we've got to empower people. It's not about, like Carolyn says, it's not about giving blankets and soup, it's about giving intuitive power. Like, how do we empower that person? Or it's not about empowering them, but how do we, you know, allow them to tune in with their own intuition and empowerment, and then create from that space, you know? And it's seeing them as more than that victim consciousness, and not playing into that, not allowing them to be that, you know? I mean, friends of mine, I'll take the piss, like, you're not a victim. Like, you're a powerful creator, and you've created this situation for a reason. And it's the same with everything in Cambodia. And I know that's controversial, but you know, there's a much bigger picture to everything. And I know that with our leadership team and you know, our head, heart, and hand team, like, they get energy, they get certainly the people that, you know, that I'm attracted to and that we've pulled together in head, heart, and hand, they know all about energy, and they know about empathy, and they've had spiritual experiences that are bloody profound, you know. If people, and I will share their stories one day, but, you know, people go to developing countries thinking that, you know, a bit of that white colonialism bullshit that makes me want to choke on my own vomit. But people go there thinking, oh yep, I'll give them this, and I'll save them, and I'll rescue them, and whatever. And it's fucking bullshit. These people have had so much life experience, and have tapped into so much bloody spiritual awareness and whatever. And, or certainly my friends anyway, definitely, absolutely the people that I am closest with. And, you know, providing resources is, it's like the byproduct. It's like what we do. So we provide resources, but it's not the resource. It's not for rescuing anyone. It's just not about that. That whole rescuing victim consciousness is just so not where we're at. Like, so not where the world is at now, when we can tap into so much. I mean, you think if you're you know what, we've all got phones that we can press a button and we're tapped into the internet and you know, connected to the World Wide Web. Well, our intuition is that, you know, we're connected to the World Wide Web in our intuition, and that's why it's so fucking important for people to do their own work. And for us, if you are a multi-sensory person, which we all are, but if you're really heightened, hypersensitive, multi-sensory, then we have to surround ourselves with people who are doing their own work, because otherwise we end up integrating a whole lot of shit that's not ours, and that takes a lot of our precious energy, a lot. And I guess the other thing when it comes to energy too is being really mindful, if you've done a lot of spiritual work, being mindful that there's people that will just want to take that. You know, the old whatever movie it was it When Harry Met Sally, and she's pretending to have an orgasm or something, and the lady next to her says, I'll have what she's having. And I know people do that with a spiritual journey, or have in my case. It's something that I have created in the past unconsciously, but where you know, I would be connected to my intuition, my spirituality and grace and whatever else, and someone would come along and feel that I'd worked fucking hard to create, you know, in healing and integrating and doing the work in consciousness, but people would feel that and then think, I want some of that. But they'd want it without necessarily having to do all the work. So there'd be identities that would create and all sorts of messy stuff. And that's part of my creation of, I guess, learning to be strong in energetic boundaries, or just learning to be, you know, I used to have a belief that to be loving I had to give my power away. It was an old, outdated belief, and just no more, you know. I'm so fucking done with that. I'm not going to give my power away, but I will do. Fuck, I'm so there for people, for them to find their own power. Like, so there for that. But I will not be raped of my power. And that paradigm has definitely ended, and I'm just so bloody excited about what's coming through, what's about the whole head, heart and hand philosophy and journey, and for want of a better word, brand, expanding and moving forward. Because I think, or if you look at it as a head, heart and hand, like energy, consciousness bubble, I'm just bloody excited that it's expanding. And yeah, I guess I'm calling forth people, if you want to you know, go up and visit different floors in the building. You know, there's a lot more to see, and you actually can't help anyone really from the lower floors. You can offer you know, you can offer soup and blankets, but what about offering someone an opportunity to tap into their own intuitive power, and they can't do that, and you can't offer that to them unless you're tapped into your own intuitive power, and the rest is just you know, it's just entertainment. So offer the soup and blankets, but for Christ's sake, be tapped into your intuitive power, be discerning, and, you know, invite that person to then go up the elevator and meet you, you know, on the next floor. Yeah, so I kind of feel like that's about it, what I've got to say. Except that, yeah, I'm feeling that now is a time for those people who feel the Head, Heart and Hand Ambassador training course. You know, you've already got the awareness, you feel it at a multi-sensory level, I know that. And you guys have to do your work to go up the elevator to the next level. You've got to, because there's people there that then you're tapped into that, and then you bring them up and invite them to the next level in the building. And the online tribe, yeah, as I've said, like anyone, you know, the world's in a faith crisis, and if you're feeling depression, or anyone in your family or whatever, it's a spiritual crisis, and we've got to start looking at it. I'm not saying don't go to the GP, because I, for one, believe in holistic health. Get your shit, you know, stable and whatever, but yeah, it's look for how you're not living up to your potential, you know. you've up-leveled, and you're not living up to it. You're not listening to something that your intuition is trying really fucking hard to tell you. Same with our Suffolk Park tribe. Like, I know that the people in that, like, yeah, it's going to be next level. It's intuitive, collective. I know that these people have such, broad awareness, and for us to just keep doing our own healing work, for the collective, that's massively important. I guess that's the other thing too, sorry, before I do go, is that one thing that has fucking saved my life, I kid you not, because I've had a few dark nights of the soul, but one thing that saved my life and probably got me through tough personal development times when there's shit that you just do not want to face, because sometimes the shadow's pretty freaking dark and you're like, nah, I ain't going there, I don't want to face that. But what has always got me through is that I don't just do my healing work for me, ever. I don't just do it so I can feel better. I do my healing work because I know fucking damn well that it shifts it in the collective. So I do my healing work, I integrate all the stuff that lands in my universe for humanity. And unless you've got that bigger willingness to heal yourself, even if it's, at the start of my journey, it was, I'm going to heal myself for my kids. Like, that was a no-brainer. It was beyond, it was like straight away my healing. And that's why I've found grace on so many occasions, because my healing has never just been about me. It was like, I'm going to heal for my kids, and then it was, I'm going to heal for my community, and then it was, I'm going to heal for, my tribe, and I'm going to heal for, and then it's all of a sudden, well, fuck, the reality is I'm going to heal for humanity, because we've got to keep doing that. So if you're just looking at, how can I feel better, I just want to feel better, you're probably in a bit of a victim consciousness, and I invite you to put yourself in the elevator, press the up button, and go to a floor where you can look at, how can I heal myself for others? And that'll give you the momentum that you need. Think of the person that you care about the most. If you have to start there, how can I heal myself so that I can be a better partner to my boyfriend or girlfriend? How can I heal myself so I can be a better human for my children? How can I, whatever it is, whatever, and then beyond that, how can I heal myself until eventually, how can I heal myself for humanity? Because what happens to the one happens to the whole, and yeah, we're all in this together. We're fucking all in this together. And yeah, I'm inviting you to get in that elevator and press the up button and explore what's on the next floor.